This is part 3 of 4 with Jeremy Hills, who's talking a lot about really the psychology behind selling. And we don't go into business to become salespeople, not for the most part, but it is part of what we need to do if we want to have a business all around that. And we've covered a couple of topics around why conversations actually fail before you even start, why you may not be closing some things and building rapport. And this one, I think is really, really important, is a lot of people don't buy off us and we cannot tell why that's happened. So, Jeremy, I'm excited about this because you're going to help us find out what's the real need and what are people really saying behind the actual words. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time, we're oftentimes too quick to actually go for the close in any sales interaction because we haven't taken the time to ask enough questions to find out if there's a deeper need. And we've all probably had the experience of someone selling to us without even asking us, do you actually even need this product or service? And I think that's sometimes where salespeople can get like an icky kind of feeling because the salesperson is like, you need to buy this, you need to buy this, you need to buy this. And you're like, you haven't even asked if I needed it. It's like, it'd be like, I bought a car yesterday and then you're selling me a car today. It's like, you haven't even found out if I need a car yet. Okay? Because I just got one yesterday. And that's where it can really prevent people.
What we've noticed there with that is that, like you said, people haven't found out what's the real need, or do they actually need something in the first place? Why do, I guess, people in sales mode not ask the questions, and what should they be doing instead? Like, what's the mindset frame that should be with them as they're moving forward to make the sale?
I'll probably cover this in the next one too, but your intention should be to help the customer make a decision though, okay? Where often our intention is to get the close, okay? But if our intention is like, I'm helping this customer, am I coming from a place to help? My job is to help them make a decision. I would rather actually get a no than a maybe. Maybe if you've been in sales, maybes are just not good. Yeah. The reason why maybes are not good is that person that says maybe, they're going to be like, oh, can I speak to you next week? And then you'll call them up again and you'll say, oh, can I speak to you? Oh, haven't made a decision yet. I'm still thinking about it. And then they push it in, then it could be weeks and then months. And you've got this person in your funnel for 6 months, 12 months, and you keep following up with them because they still haven't made a decision. And they're the ones that take up like all your bandwidth. So what you really want to do is get them to make a decision. Is it yes or is it no? And if your intention is to help them, ask good quality questions that will help them get beyond just the surface need. A really good example is, say someone says, I want to lose weight, okay, and you're selling them a weight loss solution. Like, if you just sold to that, you most likely probably won't close the sale. You have a very low closing ratio. You might close like 1 out of 10. However, if I say, well, how come you want to lose weight? I want to lose weight because I feel like I'm not attractive in my relationship anymore, and I feel like my partner's like not liking me anymore. I feel like if I don't lose weight, I might not be loved anymore. I might not be lovable. And you're just like, that's the real need, okay? And if I actually took the time and asked enough questions to find that out, when I go for the close, you can be like, well, do you want to have a happy relationship and actually have, maybe they're concerned about the health, maybe they had a health scare, and you sell to that too. Like what's it, and then you go for the cost. What's it actually going to cost you if you don't solve this problem? But you can't actually do that if you don't actually understand the needs.
So how do we get to that point where we do understand their needs really well on a level that actually resonates with them?
Yeah. It does probably come back to the first thing, like your emotional state when going into this is going to be extremely important because like you're speaking about emotions and people don't like emotions. Like people in sales don't want to bring up emotions in their customers. However, that's your job as a salesperson. And the emotions are their fears. Their fears about like, what does it mean if I make a bad financial decision? What does it mean if I fail? What does it mean if I can't succeed? Like, what happens if someone else succeeds and I can't succeed? And like, we need to get down to this level. And most people run away from the emotions, but you've got to actually hold space for them and be like, no, I'm going to keep asking questions. Like, let's just take the money and the time objection. Let's say, okay, I don't have enough money. Okay. Just even taking it one step further. Well, when will you have money? Or like how come you don't have money? Or maybe the product or service you're offering will help them make more money. Some people can just be like, well, I just paid the mechanic last week, so I don't have money today. But so we say, well, when will you have money? I'll have money in 2 weeks when I get paid again. Well, give them a call in 2 weeks. Yeah. Same as time. Like people say, oh, I might be going on this holiday, or I'm doing this course, or I'm completing this. Just ask him when will it be done? Okay. And also ask, can I give you a call when you're done? Okay. And like even that will increase your sales, but most people they lick their wounds of being hurt after like getting the first objection of I don't have money or I don't have time, and you just go, okay, and you just hang the phone up. Like you'll probably double your closing ratios by just asking another question.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think car salespeople do this really, really well, where the car might be, say,
Yeah.
$45,000, and they're like, oh, I can't afford 45,000. That's a lot of money to spend on a car. Can you spend $150 a week? Oh, yeah, I could do that. That's fine.
100%. But also isolate the problem. Is money the only thing? Is time the only thing? Okay. And then if it's not, they'll probably tell you something else. Also, we're very quick to discount it, but sometimes people will spend more money on the thing that actually solves their problem. Because sometimes we're buying a whole pile of stuff that doesn't solve our problem. Okay. However, if you've got good trust and you actually find out their emotional need and they really trust you, you will actually be able to charge more for your product or service if it actually solves the real problem that they're actually experiencing. Okay, like take the car for example. It might be expensive at $45,000 because maybe they've got a family of 5 kids and two adults, and they're really thinking about, do I need to buy 2 cars to get my kids to school rather than 1 car? And if they have to buy 2 cars at $45,000, that's expensive. Okay, but if you sold them the car that's a 7-seater car, you might actually be able to do it and sell them an $80,000 car, because then they don't have to buy 2 cars. But you got to actually ask enough questions to find out that information.
So it sounds like asking a lot of questions and drilling down to what's really going on inside of their mind and their emotions at the same time, both.
Yeah, and maintaining that rapport through that whole experience. And a lot of people in sales have probably heard this. Like, people are not buying logic; they're buying based on emotions. We buy with emotions and we justify with logic later. Yeah. So if you actually we don't buy half the stuff we buy based on logic. We like to think we do. I bought a meal because of X, Y, and Z, or I bought this car and I got the leather seats because of X, Y, and Z. And we make up a reason after we want the thing.
Yeah.
Okay? And we just say it all often, I bought this because of this. Like, no, you bought it because you wanted it. You bought it because it would make you feel a certain emotion. And if you as a salesperson can find that emotion and then give them that product or service, like you're going to close. If you can get to that last stage I mentioned in the previous episode, is like if you can get to the point where they're sharing like their real personal life, like, I need this product or service because I'm afraid that I won't be able to be there for my kids, or my relationship might end. And you start to get to this like real emotional level, it will make such a big difference. And you'll start to close like more than 1 out of 2 of those conversations if you can get to that level.
It's interesting because most of the listeners on this podcast are going to be business owners, small business owners. That's the most of the listeners.
Yeah.
So, and then I think about, okay, as a small business owner, you're got a product or a service that you're selling for a reason because you believe people want that. And then you've got the other side where you've got the person purchasing who wants it for a particular reason that's probably specific to them as an individual for the most part. And it's almost like you're combining, this is what can help you. How can I make you see how this will help you from your perspective?
Yeah. I think that language also needs to change. I'm going to make you see this. Okay. Like if you actually say, well,
Yeah, definitely.
what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you actually need? And there's too much I'm selling to you rather than my intention is I'm helping you.
Yeah.
Because if they will sell themselves if you find out what is going on for them. And that switch in mindset of I'm selling something to you rather than I'm helping you make a decision and I'm finding out what you actually need and what you want and what's going on for you emotionally, the customer will sell themselves.
Yeah, because for the
Because like
most
most
part,
people feel like they're not listened to.
no, exactly, exactly. And I think for the most part, if they're talking to you as a small business owner, they're wanting what you're after. And so why are you the best person to
Absolutely.
sell it to them as opposed to your competition? And it's getting down to that
Yeah.
emotional state by the sounds of things.
Like if you have a good relationship and rapport with a customer, like they will purchase with you. And if you have really good rapport and you get to that deeper emotional level, depending on what you do, they could become lifelong customers that stick with you for years, if not decades, if you have a personal relationship with them. Yeah, like sometimes I've spoken with like CEOs, and if you've taken the time to even spend time with your staff and you're doing things like team building, you're going out for lunches and you're organizing things on like more on a personal level, you're going to have higher staff retention as well. And if you can build deeper connections and relationships with people and get out of the mentality of like I'm selling to you and just say, well, what's going on in your life? What's the problem? What's important to you? What makes you tick? If you find out their family's important to them or their health, like what and then because I mean you understand them at an emotional level, you can ask this question. What's it costing you not buying this product? Okay.
Yeah.
If you ask that question on the surface, they will hang up the phone on you.
Yeah.
They will walk away because you haven't understood them. Okay. But if you know them at an emotional level and they feel like they trust you, you can ask the question, well, what's it costing you not to change? What's the cost of inaction? Yeah. And then they will buy themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think one of the things
Yeah.
as well is we forget, even if it's B2B sales, we forget that you're selling to a business, but
Yeah.
behind that business is an actual human with emotions and feelings still.
Yeah. And I always, yeah, one of the things I learned very early on, and someone said to me, is you're not selling business to business. You're selling always business, like really person to person, really.
Yeah,
Because there's always a person making a decision. A company's not going to make a decision without a person. The person is making the decision. So you need to get to know them. Yeah. And I've even noticed more and more we move into a world that's technology. I remember I always made an effort if I ever got a job earlier on. I always went to the person who was going to hire me and introduce myself. Because if you have that rapport, you're the one getting the job like every single time. Same as your customers. Like if you have the rapport and that you have the trust, you are the one that gets the business.
yeah, 100%. Jeremy, very enlightening as far as how to actually,
Yeah.
get to the what people are really wanting and helping them actually solve their problem for them with what we actually have to offer, whether it's a product or service. So next one, this is number 3 of 4. Number 4, the psychology of closing without feeling pushy. And I think that's a big one because most people in sales, it's don't ask a question because they feel like they're being pushy or pushing something onto
Yeah.
somebody. So I can't wait to hear about this. So next time on the podcast, Jeremy, part 4 of 4. Looking forward to that one.
Thanks, Kingsley. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.